I very early, I started to understand that I express myself through making marks on a page or painting. It was much easier for me to do that than speak.
And English was not your first language, right?
No, English was not my first language. And so early in school, it was a struggle, to change coming from, an entirely different culture into a classroom speaking English, into a whole sort of foreign experience. Mm-hmm. I remember this little girl I interviewed one time, and I said to her, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And she said, "I want to be an artist." And I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, because I like what I make, and I just want to do it all the time." And I think that's what I was. I was that kind of an artist. I was just thinking, I just want to do it all the time. So it was much more about me pursuing the passion, worrying about, getting a second job if I needed to. Mm-hmm. And pretty soon, it became possible for me to teach and to produce the work and actually make a living at it. Well, making a painting is a solitary practice. Mm-hmm. And I was really I'm not really that kind of a solitary person as a painter. I find it kind of lonely, when I have to do writing or when I'm working in the studio. It's more lonely. But actually, I can paint with 100 kids hanging off my neck and people all around me yelling and, 4 different radio stations going on and producing something of scale and trucks moving and, jumping on a lift. And so painting with a mural is really not solitary. It's collaborative and it's interactive. And you're dealing with the environment, the people who come by and say, "Hey, that's looking good," or "No, what's wrong with that guy? It doesn't look good." So you're actually interacting all the time.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like a public act.
I never thought about that when you're painting a mural, everybody gets to comment on the progress of it.
You're doing it in public. Mm-hmm. And you're interacting with people to do it because it's not a solitary thing. You can't do it by yourself. Particularly if it gets to be really big scale. Mm-hmm. There's a number of you, and so it uses all your skills, your coordination skills, your capacity to work with people, to dream with people about the ideas they want to see represented. That's one of my favorite parts of it.
Oh, wow.
Like one of the most public places I painted was on the Harbor Freeway in downtown Los Angeles. And literally, as I was painting a giant woman marathon runner for the 1984 Olympics, the truck drivers were going by and expressing their opinions about how I was painting her legs or whether she was looking good enough, right? So really publicly in the public environment, watching people drive by as I was doing it.
I'm sure you speak to young artists all the time. How do you inspire them to keep going and taking risks and making art? It's
really important that you just go for it. That you give yourself that space in which you can be wrong. You can just risk it. Make a big mistake in the making of something. If you're going to make something, just go for it and be wrong. Mm-hmm. So sometimes there's no wrong answer. So you think, what are all these voices in your room when you're in the room when you're trying to make something in the studio? Well, first thing I do is I expel everybody who says no, and I invite everybody who says yes. And then I make all my wrong trials. And as I begin to refine sketches and begin to think about an idea, what pops up is the right idea. The one that actually just has legs, it begins to sing, and it talks back to you. And so I think it's very important for you to not be afraid. And it is about teaching through the arts, by allowing the gift of creativity in our cultural experiences to be given to the children.